कोशिश किया तो अभी आया पावर, तो मैंने कहा स्टार्ट कर देते हैं। बढ़िया।
आपके
ओके
यहाँ
सो
पावर की दिक्कत रहती है अभी है?
नहीं, अभी शायद आंधी चल रही है, ऐसा कुछ है ना गुजरात की साइड में, तो ऐसा कुछ वो लोग कुछ रीइंफोर्स कर रहे हैं या पता नहीं कुछ घेर गए होंगे, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। कोशिश
समथिंग।
किया तो समथिंग मस्ट बी द इशू देयर, बट एनीवेज। बढ़िया। हम्म। ओके सो हम लोगों ने लास्ट जहाँ छोड़ा था वो थोड़ा सा रिवाइज कर लेते हैं, क्योंकि काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें कवर हो गई है। अब सिर्फ क्वेश्चन आंसर यहाँ पर जो है उसके साथ हम लोग रीड कर रहे हैं और समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, बेसिकली reinforcing what we have learned. So I will just read from a paragraph before. All humans naturally want to be resolved and without exception want to be happy, whether they are dark, fair, mighty, weak, rich or poor. हम लोगों ने शायद कवर कर लिया होगा ये। एक बार मैं देख लेता हूँ, बहुत ज़्यादा पीछे तो नहीं गए ना हम, क्योंकि आई यूजुअली हाईलाइट वेयर हैड लेफ्ट, सो बेसिकली यहाँ से हाईलाइटेड है, तो बहुत पीछे नहीं है हम। ठीक। Or poor. Since time immemorial, the method of becoming happy has been to search for happiness in sensual pleasures, but that hasn't worked. Consequently, it has become clear now that understanding is the basis of becoming happy. Understanding is when humans have understood themselves and existence. So, ये जो पॉइंट ये है कि अभी तक जो आदर्शवाद या भौतिकवाद, मटेरियलिज्म और आइडियलिज्म, व्हाट इट हैज ब्रॉट ऑन द टेबल is basically just the sensual pleasures, or the sensual the awaying of the sensual pleasures. Rather, we are one is away from the sensual pleasures, and that is how we have gone and reached where we are. By that I mean, what idealism has told is that the senses are the ones which aways you from the real knowing existence, and that's why we can see people who are in the some sort of priesthood or sainthood. They will be encouraging you to fast, they'll be encouraging you to not get married, they will encourage you, all these kind of things will be there, where they are promoting this kind of activities where the sensuals are basically nullified or suppressed. So that is how it has gone until now. And before I mean, after that we had the materialism, where they are saying that everything is just about enjoying. The world is there for us to cut into pieces and take our share, and that literally is what has happened till now. We can see we have been cutting away the forest, we have been cutting away through the ecosystem for just some sort of pleasures, and that too in the sense with money. Everybody wants money in today's day and age. So we are trying to understand this, that the real entity that needs to be in coexistence is that we are part of something that is already designed in orderliness. From that we can see that we are also part of that. So I mean, if we step off this lung, we are going to be surviving without the world itself, that will only create a sort of delusion in our minds and in nature also. Because in the true sense, actually my connection is weak, so I will just turn off my camera. So, in the true sense, what will happen is that we will not be able to achieve what we need to achieve in this life, and that is to be realized that we are in coexistence with everything else. So, um, of course, these things were there in the past. I had discussed in the morning session also that we were connected with the things in the past, be it the rivers or the the lakes and talabs and all these things, but we never understood why we were connected with them, or what was the reason of this connection. Why do we have these herbs and these plants that we are offering worship to? But after understanding it scientifically, after understanding its reasoning, we will be able to better live in coexistence with them. And so that is where this darshan is actually coming in. It is actually just about understanding it with tark, basically logic. So this is all about understanding in that way. Okay. So I will just read ahead. Existence is an eternal truth which doesn't increase or decrease. What is the evidence of this? All that is around us is the present. Present never ends. It continues. It is continuous. This earth may have four orders or just one. At the minimum, one order, material order, continues to remain. Physical entities continue to exist. These are never annihilated. The physical entities only manifest as chemical entities, which is called chemical resonance, rasayanik urmi. The two physical entities come together while leaving their prior conducts and making a third kind of conduct, that is chemical resonance. Okay, I'll just pause here because some people might be aware of it, but I'll just say it, repeat it again. We know that hydrogen is an explosive gas, and we also know that oxygen is a flammable gas. Now, when these two come together and share an electron, basically in science, that's what they do. They share the orbiting electron, basically two hydrogen and one oxygen, right? So they come together and they share the electrical orbits, the last, the most away from the nucleus, the outermost, basically. Hydrogen obviously has just one orbit, but oxygen has, I think, three or four. My science is a little bit behind. So basically, they share the outer orbit, and in that, both of the atoms, that is hydrogen and oxygen, renounce their innate nature, which is one of explosiveness and the other of flammability, and they take upon, or rather, they appear to have another. What is the word they've used here? Leaving their prior conducts. They leave behind their prior conducts and become a third conduct, which is that to quench the thirst, or put out the fire. Something that is flammable and explosive now is the same thing that puts out the fire. So in the same way, if this is happening with the at the atomic level, and I will give you another example, sodium chloride. Sodium again is a very volatile metal. If you put sodium in the water, it will start exploding, and all this kind of things will happen. And if you just leave it in the air, it's very reactive with the air. So sodium, and then chlorine gas. Chlorine gas is very, very poisonous to the human beings. So when these two things are coming together, they are producing sodium chloride, which is table salt. So now you can imagine any food that we are eating is basically tasteless, literally without the salt. And these two things are basically, one is explosive metal and sorry, very reactive metal, and this is a very poisonous gas. So when these two come together, they are renouncing their prior conducts, as it said here, and taking upon or having a third kind of conduct, which is that of resonance. They are adding towards orderliness. That is how we can see it, and that indeed is what really happens. So a lot of the things that even the chemical industries or the chemical people are trying to do is create this sort of advantage from these things, when there are these metals that are sharing this kind of orbits, and which metals are reacting with which other gases or with other metals, and they are trying to form new chemistries of batteries and all those kind of things. So I was just looking at how they are now creating sodium batteries would be cheaper. So I was just having to share this with you, that how one thing renounces its innate nature just for the sake of orderliness. So it's very interesting how everything is falls in place, and how a very basic unit in existence, which just has one electron, basically the center nucleus, and the one orbit electron, which is the hydrogen, is the basis of all life. In fact, we are almost 90% water, and that is what basically it starts. So the boon, or the what is the right word here, the heritage of H2O in itself, it carries the key towards life. The first element, hydrogen, is the one which is part of the water, and water is the one which gives life. So in abundance, if we see everywhere we look on other planets, also we look for water, and where it can exist in the natural state, is in the liquid or whatever, ice or whatever. We try to look for that in the other planets also. So the basic starting unit of atoms is the hydrogen, and it is supporting the life. So we can see that human beings were meant to exist just by looking at the hydrogen atom, right? So this is a very unique way of understanding the elements, and indeed how they work in coexistence, and how they bring resonance within themselves to create orderliness. Because right now, chemistry was very frail to me. It was very dry. I never used to get attached with chemistry, because there's something like mathematics was still a little bit closer to me, but I was never good at chemistry. Biology was also not so close to me. I was very close to physics, because I could see the reality, and I could see the equations creating a sort of a reactive this thing. But chemical, once I started understanding darshan, once I started to see the beauty of how it all started with physical manifestation, and then chemical reactions, and then ultimately biological orders coming out of those chemical reactions. That's how I saw the beauty of all this physics, chemistry, and biology coming into play, and it really added to my understanding and my acceptance of all these three subjects. है ना? But yeah, if anybody wants to add, I'm pausing here.
No, we are all good, and you have very rightly explained the chemical resonance,
Right.
or in Hindi, Rasayanic Gurmi, how the two elements lose their original conduct and rather
Mm.
become a new type of a material which
Right.
can be beneficial. So
Mm. Mm.
in all likelihood, these are beneficial.
Right. Right.
So this is uh, the way how chemical resonance works.
Right, right. And I think why Babaji has written this is actually very simple. He wants us to understand that if one entity coming together in orderliness, for the sake of orderliness, comes together with another entity, they both renounce their innate nature. So we can say that maybe, for example, we can talk of a husband and a wife. When they come together, they create the word they've used is resonance conduct, right? Let's assume that we can use the same word here because it's used in chemical these things. But let's see, there is a sort of resonance within the family structure, which is composed of the husband and the wife. That is where everything starts. That's where the family starts. The word family basically composed of two people. So I mean, in the center basically, right? Then the outer shells obviously basically have the relatives and the extended family, and the relatives, and then the far extended relatives. But the core word, which is the family, starts with two people. So here I think Babaji is trying to say that if two people who are towards orderliness, who are towards knowledge order, who are wanting to understand, or rather they've understood the existence, and now they want to live towards encouraging or living in orderliness for the rest of their lives. This is what this kind of activity they will do. They will create an environment, they will create a nurturing environment for other uh, souls or jivans to come, and they will create that sort of strong place of suraksha, of poshan, and all this innate nature of human beings, which is sukha, can be, or happiness can be found through the mulyas and through the relationships. So this is what I think. This is the reason why Babaji is trying to explain here what is the chemical resonance, and we can understand from that how it adds to even at the outer level, outermost, that is the human order also, that we should be able to do that by renouncing our innate nature, which is sometimes maybe not in orderly with the other things. But once we find the person, or once we are knowing that the other person is also wanting orderliness, then we come together to form an alliance which is actually adding to the existence, right? So this is what is actually lacking right now. A lot of people have this in their hearts, but they're not able to connect with each other simply because of maybe simple shyness is there, or the trust is not established there, or they are not able to come out of prior conditioning. So a lot of things are being left behind, and sometimes we just keep postponing some things. But as I was also saying previously, that lot of things are in disorder right now, and one of the thing is the way the carbon is being pulled out from the Earth's core and burned into the atmosphere, and that's going to create a lot of, and it is already creating a lot of havoc. And we are going to see drastic temperature differences, and we should be aware of this, and we should be aware that what we are going to do in the future will be taking many years for it to normalize. So yeah, everything is kept under the ground for one reason, that is that it has it's how do I say it? It's not compatible for life. Basically, that's why it's kept under the ground. Be it the nuclear elements, basically those atoms are not stable. Be it the oil, be it the gas, those are there to preserve the continents from shifting so much. They are there like shock absorbers, and they are absorbing the heat of the sun during the day and releasing it slowly in the night. So all these fossil fuels that we are saying that it is a reservoir are just basically, I wish that the businessman or even the president of the United States is so fond of finding a reservoir of oil, and he's just waiting for it to come out from the US, and he will start drilling and exploiting it, and pumping it out and selling it. So basically converting everything to money, paper currency, something which is useful, something which is there for a reason. We are just wanting it because of our जिसको कहते हैं ना non education. Maybe if somebody sat with him for a while, he would start realizing it and say, we don't need to do this, and it's a bad economical decision at the end of the day. So yeah, I will read ahead. All entities of biological order are formed as a result of chemical resonance. Okay, so this is another very good sentence. All entities of biological order are formed as a result of chemical resonance. So I think by this it means complex proteins are formed inside biological order because of this chemical resonance, right? So we all know that how sugar is converted into glucose and how it is used by the cells. Um, the mitochondria inside every cell, it absorbs this glucose and converts this to energy and gives the energy to the cell. So these are all basically chemical resonance, and they have been converted into that glucose or those structures, proteins in those structures, and that are being digested by the system. So this means that everything that is biological in us is actually first chemically in resonance. I know. So that's why those atoms are sticking together, and they are holding this packets of energy that are basically just units of the sunlight and converted to energy, and then we are taking it as food. Is created the energy source for the biological order. Having some background noise, so I'll just take a moment to mute. Huh. Okay. Brilliant. So the chemical entities naturally give rise to the emergence of Prana Kosha, Prana Sutra, and Rachna Vidhi. There is no contribution from any engineers, doctors, intellectuals in this. Hence, we come to know that the steps of development, progression are well established in existence. Humans are also a step in this progression. You and I can understand this. If humans don't live in orderliness in their activities and thoughts as per their position in development progression, then Earth will not remain habitable for them, and humans will get wiped out. The rest of the physical and chemical chemical entities will remain as is, but the human race will vanish from the earth. So this is obviously said and announced by the scientist, that we are the ones who will be toppling the first, in case if anything happens to the orders. And that is the true reasoning, because that we are the highest on the how do you say, evolutionary process. And that means that we don't have as many uh, entities. I'm having some background noise on this. Okay. So we are actually on the highest pedestal of evolutionary process, and that's why I'm saying that if we are not going to be understanding the all the orders, then the chemicals and the physical matter will be there. There will be the chemical reactions and the physical matter will be there, uh, and remain as it is, because they are innate in nature, is their innate nature is to exist, right? And then the human race will be the one will be vanishing. So in this case, I would say that all human beings, there will come a time that all human beings will have to use all their resources, be it their skills, be it their wealth, even be it their bodies, even they will have to use their bodies to save the earth. Because until now, what is happening is we are actually consuming and riding on the wave of what the earth has taken so many millions of years to have, जिसको कहते हैं ना, श्रम से द्वारा बहुत सारा मेहनत करके इतना सारा हमको दिया है. सो नाउ वी आर एक्चुअली ऑलमोस्ट बोरोइंग from what the future generation would have gotten in its heritage. We are borrowing from them. We are borrowing their air because they will not have the good air in the future. We are borrowing their waters because we are consuming the water so much. I'm going to talk about this, in fact, tomorrow in the session that we are having with Niru Didi, that how the data centers of today are consuming so much water because they need to be cooled down, and they're creating so much energy drain. We are talking about nuclear plants will be needed in the future to power these data centers. So that's another thing that we need to be discussing, and we will be talking about it tomorrow at 10:45 in the morning. So in case if you also want to join in, it will be in Hindi, but basically it's worth understanding that why we need to do this kind of things, because these are all driven by the market forces. The data centers who's giving the quickest information, the quickest rendering of the image, the quickest video that can come out from the script that we give it. This is now the new era of creativity that we are going to see, and these data centers are the ones who will be delivering this to the people who will be paying the small fee. So these are going to be the issues of tomorrow, that they'll be creating so much of degradation of the environment. And what we need to do and understand is very crucial at this moment, because not many people understand it, but simple data centers are 1 gigawatt consumption of energy. So that's almost like one nuclear plant you need. So they're wanting to create data centers that are 10 gigawatt in size. So now we can just imagine that they will have nuclear plants everywhere, in every place they can find. So this is the kind of energy consumption that these data centers need. Um, yeah, so we'll talk about it tomorrow in detail. If I start that topic, it's going to take another 10-15 minutes. But yeah, so we'll talk about it tomorrow. There is no gain or loss in existence. That is, existence neither increases or decreases. The four orders are continuously present. This is the way of existence. If all the four orders are not together on this earth, they will be on some other planet. What would be more foolish than humans thinking that their development is in making earth uninhabitable? So here we are also slowly announced that there are also other earths that are having this evolutionary processes there, and they all ultimately will have the four orders. And we have already achieved the fourth order, which is the Gyan order on this earth, right? So the question is rhetorical here, and is saying what would be more foolish than humans thinking that their development is in making Earth inhabitable? How can we, by doing our small activities, make the Earth uninhabitable? And how is that, in the name of development? So indeed, we can see in our surroundings how, in the name of development, in the name of Vikas, we are doing so much progress, and all we are doing is doing something without knowing its repercussions. So I am just going to give you a very random example. From a single lane of road we used to have from our village to our town, basically from Bhuj to our village. It was a single lane, right? Even if the car was coming from ahead, we had to lower our wheels on one side and basically tug on the shoulders of the road, and then the same thing happens to the other guy who's coming from the other side, because the road was just one lane, right? Now we have three and three lanes, so there's basically six lanes going and coming from our village. You can imagine, obviously there's something to do with the highways connecting ahead somewhere, and these roads are basically called ring roads. They actually connect every other town and every other village. But the point is that the design of the very design of the roads and everything that is with the roads is basically commercially driven. These roads now then create a stress on attracting investors, and people put up shops there, people put up all this kind of businesses there. International people also start looking for this kind of land, and they put warehouses there for their cars and for their garages and all these kind of things. So somewhere you can just ask yourself that we are doing so much development, people are also stagnating at the population. Also, we are going to see a very big stagnation of population. And who are we going to do it for? We are surely going to see a population collapse very soon, because of a lot of things are happening which are in disorder, and that is creating the like, no couple right now in their right mind would want to bring up a child in this day and age. This is the status, because everything is in disharmony. The food, the waters, right? And then the human beings are in disorderliness. We have so many wars going on everywhere. So we are also trying to create so much development, but in what end, right? There's nothing going to be consumed. In China, if you recall, there was a time when they collapsed some hundreds of houses, high rise buildings, which were basically apartments. They just collapsed it because there were no one there to stay, and they were creating a very low rate of selling those houses, because the prices were falling of real estate. So they had to fill the apartments that were there already, so that the prices stay stable. You can imagine what this kind of vikas can bring us, because this is happening in other countries already, right? The other countries are trying to do so much of development, and they have to, then they feel a sort of a glass ceiling, and then they stop, and then they start destroying what they've created. So this is clearly utter stupidity, I would say, in blank and straightforward words, where we are not knowing what is the demand, what is the supply, and we are just going based on, acha, he is doing it, let me do it also. Let me gain also the profit. So all these things that are basically gains of profit are never going to be the right ways of. I think going ahead, we have to be really revised on what is the need of the human beings, and in that we can also go forward slowly like that, and that is how what the true development or the true vikas would actually mean. And, there is no gain or loss in existence. There is existence neither increases decreases. The four orders are continuously present. This way of existence, if all, this is the way of existence. If all four orders are not together on this earth, there will be some other planet. What would be more foolish than human beings thinking that their development is in making earth uninhabitable?
Bhaiya,
Most.
let me, should I read further?
हाँ हाँ, yes भैया, sure.
Okay. Most people consider a person, nation, or sect that causes such a nuisance to be developed. This requires some rethinking. It has now become evident that we are stuck due to our own doing. We need to untangle ourselves now. The proposal for this has been presented to you. It needs to be thought over, and your cooperation is essential in this. Humans turns to good or bad tendencies with their own will. If they don't find the path to good, they rush towards bad tendencies. This proposal is for going towards good. It needs to be considered and its path needs to be recognized. So, very rightly in this particular paragraph, Babaji writing that. So now the people should understand that the development is taking this earth to a uninhabitable, making it
Right.
as uninhabitable. So
Right.
now we have the will power, we have the free will, we have uh, the kind of what we
Knowledge.
want to think, what we want to do. So
Right.
based on that, the human can take tendency decision. It can lead the our thinking pattern can lead to our to good or bad tendencies, and
Mm.
we move to bad tendencies only in the absence of good. So
Right.
the proposal has
Mm.
been put forward in front of us, and
Mm.
we need to understand this, and the path needs to be recognized.
Mm. Mm.
Anything you want to add, Bhaiya?
नहीं नहीं भैया, I'm just waiting for the next line. See how it says the humane character is is the same for all humans. The first thing that is the
Hmm.
humane character. बढ़िया.
Exactly.
Yes, yes भैया.
First, the humane character is same for all humans. It is in the form of rightfully owned wealth, marital faithfulness, and kindness in work and behavior. Now, the
Mm.
human behavior has been explained in the form of
Mm.
rightfully owned wealth, swadhan jisko bola,
Right.
marital faithfulness,
Mm.
swanari swapurush, and kindness in work and behavior. Now,
Mm. दया
सोच और
दया पूर्ण.
कार्य में, हाँ,
हाँ,
जो है
दया
वो
पूर्ण कार्य.
दयापूर्ण व्यवहार होगा.
Yes.
ये चीजें
Right.
एक ह्यूमन कैरेक्टर में अगर आने शुरू हो जाती है, दैट विल बिकम ए
Mm.
वंडरफुल थिंग. एंड द
Mm.
सेकंड इज द वैल्यूज फ्लो अपॉन रिकॉग्नाइजिंग रिलेशनशिप. Values are fulfilled upon recognition, evaluation, and mutual satisfaction in relationship. And
Mm.
this is extremely important that one
Mm.
must understand the relationship, one must understand the coexistence of everything around us. And so what you are explaining about the cyclicity of the nature and the things, how we can do in the morning session with Niru Didi. So wonderfully, it's giving us the idea that we must recognize the relationship, and it is not the human relationship only, it is with the all the forms. And in human forms, it's not only my family only, it is with everyone,
Right.
everyone on this earth to whom you come in contact.
Mm.
One must understand the relationship.
Mm. Right.
Hmm.
I just want to add, one thing. Kindness in work and behavior. This is actually underrated, and this is what is going to be required most to be done because daya purna karya vyavhar. That means, are we kind? You know what kindness actually means is that are we seeing the whole humanity before we do even one single action. Like I will just give you an example. uh, Most of us are very familiar with going out somewhere and maybe buying a packet of chips, right? And this is a very very casual, very very like non-intrusive, very very simple act that we usually do. कहीं पर भी गए तो एक वेफर का पैकेट गया लेकर के और वहां पर खाया, और even if we put it in the dustbin, the wafers packet, what we are actually doing in that act is that we are confirming to the people who are producing this kind of fast foods and all these kind of things that they should continue with their R&D of creating more and more flavorful masalas, and we are telling the people to cut down the forest and use that place to grow the palm trees, and then that will be used to get the palm oil. And we are telling the people also in the transport industry to transport that product to that place wherever the shop is, and all this is just then governed by the money. And in essence what I'm saying is that every small act that we do has to be scrutinized now, because if we continue with our small acts, they're adding up to a lot. They're adding up to almost half, let's say 4 billion. 4 billion acts 4 billion people are consuming this kind of products, assuming that not everybody eats the chips, there are some people who are very sharp and smart and all these things. I sometimes find it very curious that how it is so easy to pick up those cans of soda and aluminum cans just for the sake of the fizzy drink. How easy it is to take that ice cream cone outside the supermarket. They usually have this kind of ice cream cones in DMart where we are living. So I'm assuming that they are there in also in other malls and all these kind of places. So these things, we are not even kind to our own body. We are not even understanding what is the right foods, what is the right way of taking things in our body. We are eating food and then we are having ice cream. That's basically we are we are जिसको कहते हैं ना आयुर्वेद के हिसाब से we are putting out the fire. There is a fire inside our belly which is basically digesting the food, and when we eat these kind of things heavy to digest, cold, and in nature basically they are just there to harm, and then we are going to eat it, and then we are going to say we have fallen sick, or we have not digested the food. We start creating the gas. So are we kind to our body? That is the question. We have to be very very uh, uh, sensitive. I think that's the first starting basically, and then basically after that we start becoming wiser and wiser and getting deeper and deeper into knowledge, and that's how we are going to get the people who are tomorrow going to create environment, a healthy environment, a better kind sort of surrounding for people to exist. Because right now it's only priya hit labh. Basically kuch bhi cheez priya hai, whatever is likable, it is easily be exchanged with money, and we are just going to ruin the whole thing like this again and again. We are keeping on day by day. So many millions of small acts are going wrong in the wrong direction and just happening basically because we are not sensitive enough. So I just wanted to have this sort of small say to whoever will listen to this, who is listening right now, that we have to be very sensitive, ultra sensitive. That is the word I would say, because our small acts add up and they are adding up in the negative fallout. Yes, Bhaiya.
Third, we are ethical only when we make right use and ensure protection of our resources in the form of body, mind, and wealth.
Very good.
We are ethical only when we make right use and ensure protection of our resources. And the
Mm.
resources have been mentioned as body, mind, and wealth.
Right,
है ना,
right.
बॉडी का भी प्रॉपर
Ah,
प्रोटेक्शन
yeah.
और राइट यूज करना, माइंड का
Mm,
भी, एंड दैट ऑफ वेल्थ आल्सो.
mm,
सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन,
mm,
right use and ensure protection.
mm,
And these are called the resources. तन
mm.
मन धन का सदुपयोग.
Right.
तन मन धन का सदुपयोग अ,
Mm,
कर्म दर्शन में तो बड़े अच्छे से समझाया गया कि जो
mm,
डेल्यूजन को रिमूव करने में ये चीजें जितना हेल्प करेंगी वो दैट विल बी द बेस्ट वर्क.
mm,
जो बेस्ट वर्क वो कंसीडर किया जाता है कि हमारा तन मन धन, दैट इज बॉडी माइंड एंड वेल्थ, यूज in the removal of the ideas which are related to delusion.
mm.
So
बढ़िया.
this is a wonderful thing.
Mm,
And what a wonderful lines Babaji has written.
mm,
And it opens up the whole existence and what to be done, what not to be done.
mm,
ये मुझे यहाँ पे भैया ये बड़ा अच्छा लगता है कि करना
mm.
क्या है उसके आंसर मिल जाते हैं.
Yeah.
कि बॉडी का, माइंड का, वेल्थ का, इसका राइट यूज करें और इंश्योर करें, इनकी प्रोटेक्शन भी हम इंश्योर करें.
Mm.
एनीथिंग यू वांट टू ऐड हियर?
यस यस, आई थिंक आई डिड, आई जंप द गन बेसिकली. मैं पहले से ही बोल दिया और वो सही में यहाँ पर इसके बाद ही आया. एंड एज आई सेड, वेल्थ हमारा एक एक 10 रुपए का भी एक चीज़ है. इवन इफ यू स्पेंड 10 रुपीज ऑन अ पैकेट ऑफ चिप्स, दैट इज वेल्थ गोइंग इन somebody's pocket and affirming to them that they should continue what they're doing. So either we are knowingly doing this or unknowingly doing this. If we are knowingly doing this, then we should be also knowingly knowing the repercussions of the same, because that 10 rupees is not just 10 rupees. That 10 rupees is an affirmation of all the processes that has taken place for that chips packet to appear in our front of our eyes. And that is an affirmation, that are we accepting that affirmation? So we have to be sensitive enough for that, है ना? तो वही बात
Hmm.
मेरे माइंड में आती है। यस।
Anything else, Neelam Didi or Pramod Bhaiya can also add. Whenever they feel, they can also
यस।
speak.
यस।
So, in this way, human conduct, okay, Didi, okay. In this way, human conduct is combined expression of values, character, and ethics.
हम्म।
These three are the cornerstones for living in orderliness. So
हम्म।
these three means combined expression of values, character,
हम्म।
and ethics.
हम्म।
Human conduct is the formula, and I arrived at the human constitution when I elaborated it for human living in family,
हम्म।
society, occupation, and nature.
हम्म।
So, the grandeur of human conduct alone can be manifested as national character. So,
हम्म।
national character क्या होगा? That will be the human conduct.
हम्म।
This will be the, if we are able to do things in a humanistic way or in a human conduct, that will be the national character.
हम्म।
The erstwhile thinking of statecraft based on religion and economics has failed.
हम्म।
We will now need to search for the alternatives.
हम्म।
तो रिलीजन और इकोनॉमिक्स के बेस पर जो चीजें बनी वो धीरे धीरे फेल हो रही हैं.
हम्म।
The proposal for this is to define the national character on the basis of human conduct.
हम्म।
Nowhere and at no point in time will anyone have difficulty in understanding it. और
हम्म।
बड़े मजे की बात है, ह्यूमन कंडक्ट को हर कोई समझ सकता है ना.
हम्म।
ये कि नहीं कि एक पर्टिकुलर धर्म वाला समझेगा या वो नहीं समझेगा. इसके
हम्म।
रूल्स बड़े सिंपल हैं,
हम्म।
ह्यूमनिस्टिक है, तो इसको समझना बड़ा इजी है.
ये
नो.
सेंटेंस को मुझको तो बहुत पढ़ के बहुत अच्छा लगा। नो
यस
वेयर,
यस.
कहीं पर भी, एट ए नो पॉइंट इन टाइम, कहीं समय पे भी, मतलब दिस इज टाइम प्रूफ कैप्सूल। इफ इट इज गिवन टू अ पर्सन एनीवेयर एंड इन एनी टाइम, everybody will have simple yes, basically it's saying that no one will have any difficulty in understanding it, so बहुत बढ़िया है ना।
हाँ, ये कितनी जबरदस्त बात है.
हम्म।
क्योंकि रूल सिंपल है ना और समझ में आ सकते हैं. मैंने आई हैव
हम्म।
ऑब्जर्व दैट when we are talking
हम्म।
something based on the traditions, then we normally
हम्म।
get at one point when we are explaining something based on traditions, then we are
Right.
stuck at some stage
Right.
that we don't
Yeah.
have the answer and we start looking for alternatives. But when we
Right.
are talking in a humanistic approach like that in the
Mm.
Madhyas Darshan, we are
Mm.
able to understand and explain everything.
Right. Right.
Everything, every humanistic rule is very much understood.
Mm.
The Babaji has gone very deeper into understanding each and everything, how the
Right.
values are important, how the conduct is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is
I think this
yes.
book is the one book which is actually a live book, basically, because all the books that are there out there are actually dividing the humanity, are actually creating sort of godliness in other people, and incorporating idealisms where some god is bigger than the other god, so the some people are better and bigger than the others. Uh, I was watching this interview while Donald Trump was having this meeting with the South African president, and how Donald Trump was actually accusing the South African president of genocide of white Americans or white
Yes, I
people.
have seen that. Yes,
Huh.
yes, yes.
So then he again, the president of United States, so-called the biggest superpower, he is still stuck at humans who are white or humans who are black, and now he clearly was meaning it in a racist way, because the whole of United States is built by the slaves of Africa. That is a clear fact. But yet he is still
Mhm.
there. He is saying that the African people had killed the white man, and that the if the vice versa is argued, then they are saying that no, no, we are the white people, we are the superior. That's what they are trying to say. So I,
Mhm.
I still find it very childish, because now I have the knowledge of this darshan, so now everything is so like childish. These people at presidents, in positions of presidents and power, they are talking so small and shallow according to the darshan, I must say.
Mhm.
So this is very privilege that we are having.
Mhm.
Yes.
How does a human with humanness live in family, in society, and in system. All this falls. Uh, I think I have read
Huh.
the.
Yes, you have not read from for
Okay,
once.
okay,
Uh,
okay. For once, we need to experience the happiness of living with humane conduct.
mm,
As we elaborate the human conduct and human constitution in the form of code of human conduct, it takes the form of sociology.
mm,
Education needs to incorporate human sociology.
mm,
How will humans become wise?
mm,
What is the grandeur of human with humanness?
mm,
How does a human with humanness live in family, in society, and in system? All this falls under sociology, which is a subject of study in itself.
mm,
Humans can live very nicely while trusting the present.
mm.
Existence neither increases nor decreases. Therefore, we can recognize existence in the form of ultimate truth.
बढ़िया. I think we can actually pause here. बहुत बढ़िया. The existence itself is the ultimate truth. So this is a place where we can all agree on, and that once we understand that, then it can actually create a sort of how can we say it? A place of where we can all come together, that this is what the study is, the study of truth, and it is going to be imparted through education, है ना. और एजुकेशन के साथ इम्पार्ट करने के बाद वो हम जो भी उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने की बात करेंगे तो वही है कि हम लोग नॉलेजेबल हो जाए, वी बिकम नॉलेजेबल, देन वी बिकम द पीपल हु आर taking it on the front line, and we then become also the people who are not just living it but actually yeah, basically we are living with these ideologies, with this knowledge, with other human beings also. So ये जो है ना वो बहुत एक सुखद एक तरह का तृप्ति भी फील होती है इसमें, कि वी आर ऑन द राइट पाथ, पहली बात कि हम समझने की प्रक्रिया में है, एंड देन उसके बाद जो है हम लोग समझते जाएंगे, जैसे जैसे हम समझते जाते हैं, एज वी कंपेयर convene towards this darshan, we find ourselves that we are more and more in orderliness within ourselves, with our relatives, with our relations, with our partners, and then we are starting to see that how it is also adding to us. We are seeing things falling into place. I will actually declare that as after I have taken this darshans more seriously, a lot of things, even in the physical realm, have taken a shape that is conducive towards living an orderly life, and that too a happy life. I have found that I was very agitated, very angry, full, very eager to achieve the results, be it in business or whatever it is. But now I am seeing that it is actually the right thing is to do is to understand only. Anything, as I was mentioning just before, any act that we do, the smallest of it, actually has a very, very, and these people have this business minds. MBA people are there sitting there. How can we make our business scalable? And they indeed make it scalable, and those things are actually creating the environment where our pollutants are there floating around in the sea. So much plastic is there, so much garbage is there, because of this kind of scalability factors that are there. So as the masses, or as the part of the 98%, for example, who are us, we have to be very sensitive. We are also taking upon the earth's most amount of area, because 1% are there in their small places wherever they are. For example, even if they are in their castles, but we are the ones who are going to be having the brunt of all this disorder that we are going to face out of, maybe it's the climate catastrophe, or be it pollution, be it the pollutants that are going in our body through the pollutants that we are spraying and we are consuming through the fertilizers and all those things. So kuch bhi hum log kare, whatever we do, we have to be very, very sensitive. That's, I think, the motto of the day. I think that's what we should say. Yes. Anybody else want to say something?
Neelam Didi is saying she is MBA. I'm saying I'm also MBA. But now we don't think in that scalability or increasing the business.
हाँ.
Rather, we are understanding the smriti or the prosperity in a more meaningful way. And
mm,
whenever, even we were discussing as a family together that if
mm,
we have to do something, that should be in the interest of the humanity, and it should
mm,
not disturb any ecological balance or anything disturbing to the humanity or to the earth or to the
mm,
other forms. So that shift has come in spite
mm.
of whatever our qualification is.
राइट राइट। नहीं, लेकिन बाबा जी ने तो बहुत अच्छे से कहा कि अभी जो प्रक्रिया करनी है वो समझने की प्रक्रिया है। जो दाना पानी की जो प्रक्रिया है, जो व्हाट वी हैव द फूड हैज बीन सॉल्व्ड इन अवर एनिमल ऑर्डर। इट हैज बीन सॉल्व्ड बाय देन, इट हैज द एनिमल ऑर्डर, वी हैव पास दैट। सो नाउ वी जस्ट हैव टू हैव दिस अंडरस्टैंडिंग, एंड यू विल नॉट बिलीव the many places that we are spreading this knowledge. We are getting so many जिसको कहते हैं ना स्वधन, we are getting so many gifts, and we are getting it in the form of food, in the form of clothing, in the form of, even Nilam Babi is here, she will agree, she has been with us all the time. We are getting this kind of acknowledgement. Nilam Babi was not here yesterday. Chetna Didi bought some mangoes and achar and all those things from the farm that she is owning. So this is the kind of things that we are getting, organically produced things, because people know that we are on the path of orderliness. We are giving a good guidance to them. We are removing the obstacles of what they cannot speak with their families. They don't know how to and what to, or the topics to speak on. They are now able to open their minds, and that is going to that is creating a very harmonious nature in them. And a lot of gratitude from these people that we are having these shivers with. First time, first day event, just 1 hour, and these people are almost like fans. We are getting high hits in the internet, some 100 views, 200 views of my lectures also, just yesterday, of the one I shared about how the oxygen is created in the oceans. So I'm just saying that just by doing this expression of this darshan to the strangers also is creating so much harmony. So why do we need to focus on earning and all these kind of things? I would actually blankly say this: let's just focus on understanding. Let's just be knowledgeable, and let's share this knowledge with the other people who are in our surrounding, and you will see the magic. We will just be exchanging the things, nothing to do with money, nothing to do with prestige, honor, or respect, or anything. This is the respect. This is the right thing to do, and the right thing will this will bring the right things. That is my confession actually, है ना? बढ़िया। So we are actually three minutes we're having. If anybody else want to add.
Yeah, namaste to all.
Namaste.
Been
Yes.
quite some time that we've spoken.
Ah,
So, yes, just wanted to share the first thing that connected me to Jeevan Vidya was being an economic and MBA student. Was
mm,
हमको सिखाया जाता था लॉ ऑफ डिमिनिशिंग रिटर्न्स, है ना?
mm, mm,
और क्योंकि मैं शहर में ही रही हूँ, और जब ये सुना तो यस, वो रियलाइजेशन ऐसा हिट हुआ कि नेचर एवरीथिंग इज इन abundance. It is the mindset of the people that is short uh, of all the things, material things. So जो काफी जो सब वो क्या कहते हैं, मिथ्स टूटे हैं. इट इज अमेजिंग. और ऐसा लगता है तो पहले भागीदारी वैसे ही देखी कि है ना, मेरे जो कलीग्स हैं उनको सबको ये सब शेयर किया जाए कि भाई बिकॉज आई वाज आल्सो, माय करियर वाज इनटू एडवाइजरी,
right.
पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट एंड तो उस तरह से था. बट कहीं पे भी है ना, मुझे ऐसा हमेशा ऐसे लगता था मैं जो कर रही हूँ तो ठीक है, लाइवलीहुड के लिए कुछ कर रही थी. बट
Mm,
जब नुकसान होता था किसी का, वो 1 रुपया भी नुकसान मेरे से हो तो आई वाज गिवन टारगेट्स बाय आर कंपनीज के आपको इतना तो भाई यू आर अंडर परफॉर्मिंग, एज इन गिविंग लेस ब्रोकरेज टू द कंपनी.
right, right.
हाँ, एक है कि आपके है ना क्लाइंट्स उतने के उतने ही है, भले डाउन मार्केट्स हो ऊपर के मार्केट्स हो, यू स्टिल हैव और यू विल हैव एडिशन टू क्लाइंट्स.
Mm,
बट वो मुझे निकाल नहीं पाए, वाज वन थिंग, बिकॉज उस तरह से रिलेशंस बिल्डअप किया, एंड आई न्यू दैट माय क्लाइंट्स न्यू दैट नीलम वुड डू एनीथिंग टू द वर्थ ऑफ मनी, लाइक जो because I felt for it that every penny a person is earning and putting is and blindly having faith on someone.
Right, right.
तो वहाँ पे ह्यूमैनिटी, ह्यूमनाइजेशन का एंगल देना बहुत ज़रूरी है. एंड भले आई वाज एन अंडर परफॉर्मर दैट वेज, बट
हम्म,
आई ऑलवेज हैव माय सीनियर्स हैड रिगार्ड्स फॉर मी. तो ये
हम्म,
कहीं यही यात्रा के लिए जुड़ना होगा.
हाँ,
So it is a good thing, and being with friends like you, तो
हम्म,
एक अच्छा है कि हमको और भी चीजें जहाँ जहाँ being a total आदर्शवादी kind of a
हम्म,
thing, बोले के हमको कुछ करना नहीं है.
हाँ,
The
हाँ,
thing is, हम कुछ ना करें, मतलब हस्तक्षेप भी ना करें, और हम कुछ करें ही ना, जो चल रहा है उसको भी देखें, और
हाँ,
हम एटलीस्ट कुछ ना करें.
हाँ,
was also I वो रियलाइजेशन हुआ आफ्टर दिस दर्शन दैट इट वाज नॉट गुड
राइट.
जो हम कर रहे थे, क्योंकि कुछ ना करना वो अपना
इज
चैतन्य
अगेन.
पर एक्चुअली नहीं खुलता है. एंड
हाँ,
दिखा कि कहीं अपूर्णता थी ही, एंड आई ऑलवेज फेल दैट आई टेकिंग जस्ट वन मोर मिनट,
हाँ, हाँ,
कि
आराम
ऐसा
से.
लगता था कि जैसे हमारे उसमें देयर सम आई यूज्ड टू रीड, तो वहां पे लिखा है दैट देयर इज सो मच, आप पाप करते हो, कुछ
हम्म,
बना रहे हो, सम कंस्ट्रक्शन कर रहे हो, या आप खेती कर रहे
सांस ले
हो.
रहे हो तो भी.
तो मुझे ऐसा हमेशा लगता था देयर देयर शुड बी सम अनदर पर्सन, वो
हम्म,
पाप करे हमारे लिए और हम भोगे, वो चलता
हम्म,
है. तो वो प्रश्न मेरे में हमेशा बना रहता था कि
हम्म,
ऐसे क्यों प्रोपगेट करते हैं. तो
हम्म,
कहीं उनका भी आई डोंट नो, जो भी सार तो कुछ और रहा होगा, उन लोग लेके कुछ और गए हैं, एंड ऑल दैट थिंग्स. तो यहाँ पे एक फुल सोल्यूशन, ऑल सॉल्यूशंस, वो कहते हैं ना, कंप्लीट सॉल्यूशंस अंडर वन रूफ.
right.
तो ये बहुत बढ़िया. तो मेरी बहुत काफी समीक्षाएं हुई हैं, एंड इस तरह से माय फ्रेंड्स आल्सो रियलाइज, यार कुछ तो है विच इज शिफ्टिंग, एंड दे ऑलवेज फेल्ट आई वाज डिफरेंट ओनली, एंड नाउ दे नो व्हाट इज दैट पर्पस. तो वो भी उस तरह से जुड़ना चाहते हैं, फैमिली मेंबर्स हो के. सो यस,
बढ़िया.
तो ग्रेटफुल टू बाबा जी.
बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया. Yes, so one more confession that again we are also on the right path and we are feeling that we are on the right path. That is the most जिसको कहते हैं ना basic, the feeling of tranquility within us is the measuring. I think that we are also on the right path, and I think it's always growing as we are adding value towards other people and also to ourselves. So बढ़िया. We will meet tomorrow again, है ना? Same time.
मंडे.
I,
Tomorrow means
Monday,
Monday.
yes, yes, Monday.
Okay.
Okay. I think is Niru Didi's lessons going on tomorrow, भैया?
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
sure.
She's taking
चलते हैं ना
classes
कल?
on Saturday. Yes. Only
She's
Sunday is
taking.
off.
ओके, तो ठीक है. ओके, तो कल फिर 10:30 बजे अगर आ सकते तो
Yeah, I'm
आइए, है ना?
attending
विल
it.
टॉक
I'm
अबाउट
attending
दैट.
it.
हाँ, अब मैंने देखा. यस, यस, बढ़िया.
And I'm
चलिए, मिलते
enjoying
हैं
and
फिर
learning
मंडे
from
को
you.
मिलेंगे यहाँ पर. हाँ,
ठीक है.
यस, यस, बढ़िया. चलो.
थैंक यू.
ओके,
बाय.
नमस्ते
नमस्ते.
everyone.